A very good morning. Welcome to 106.1 XFM. I'm Charles Mwangushampagi, and this morning sitting in for Kanare Mugume, this is Big Talk. This morning we keep the spotlight on the opposition party, the Forum for Democratic Change, a party that now has two executives, two chairmen, one sitting at Katonga, another sitting at Najjanankumbi. Members of the executive has been holding parallel activities, delegates conferences, national tours. What does this mean for the FDC? What does it mean for the broader political opposition in this country? And can Katonga FDC actually carry through its threat to dissolve FDC as we have always known it, which now sits at Najjanankumbi? I mean, one section of it, the people that claim to be in charge of that FDC, sitting at Najjanankumbi. To discuss that with me this morning, I have, from the extreme end, Ingrid Turinawe. Could you say hello to us and maybe a brief introduction? People forget.
Hello, viewers and listeners. Ingrid Turinawe. I am FDC, PO Box Katonga. I am the National Mobilizer and former Women's League chairperson. I'm happy to be on the show. Tune in. I wish you a good viewing.
Thank you. We have the Honorable Jack Sabiti. You remember him as a former member of parliament for Ruchiga County. A lot of things have happened since, but he's now, let him introduce himself. I'll let him do the honors.
Jack Sabiti, a Ugandan, a member of FDC, a founding member, and the chairman of Forum for Democratic Change.
And last but not least, former minister, former member of parliament, elder, academician. Professor, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. That's Sabazana Kabwejere. An interested observer and a participant in Uganda politics.
We're coming to you live on Next Radio and on NBS TV and on other social media platforms. Follow us, send us feedback, give your comments, and let's have a conversation about the politics. The FDC dissolution, can it actually happen? Let me start with Professor Bazana Tarsis Kabwejere. You've been observing, you've been a part of Ugandan politics for a long, long time. Right now, Ingrid and Jack sit on different sides of a political party that emerged, beginning with Reform Agenda, but registered in 2005, one of the very first to get registered, and as we opened up the political space. Hardly 20 years down the road, one is P.O. Box Katonga, another is FDC, I would imagine P.O. Box Najjanankumbi. Yes. What's your reading of this and what does it mean for the broader politics of this country and our foray into multipartyism or pluralism?
First of all, I didn't imagine I was coming here to do the anatomy and physiology of FDC. But it is part and parcel of our body politic. And if I were to be the anatomist or the surgeon or the physiologist, let it be. First of all, if you really are going to understand what is going on, you have to understand the history of Uganda. This is not the first time that this is happening. The question is, why does it happen? Divisions, people have come together before and then they separate. Then they separate, they become hostile, enemies even. This has happened. And it's not only in Uganda, it's in history. It's in history. Lucifer was in heaven and he ended up being chased and he went away with some of the angels and they have never stopped harassing, quote unquote, God's territory. So this is not surprising. The issue, however, is it good for us as we talk now. I will be very frank with you that what is happening to FDC has happened to all the parties we have had in Uganda before.
Mm-hmm.
Alliances form and they disintegrate. Look at the history of UPC as it started and developed and how it ended. Look at the DP. In fact, the UPC is very, very dramatic. It's alliance with the Kawaka to get power. And then soon after, it separates. And you know what happened if you are a historian. So it's not surprising that division comes about. The question is, why do they come at a particular point in time? Yes. The issue of power. If we understood that power is a very, very liquidified resource, you can't hold it into your hands easily, especially when you are looking for allies. But if you want to use the power to solve problems, then there are certain things you don't do. And that's why I would come very anatomically to say FDC is showing very, very clearly that its capacity to address problems of Uganda is in question. Because the UPC tried, and we know what happened. DP tried, you know what happened. NRM has tried, we know what has happened. Divisions have come, but somehow they haven't disintegrated NRM. Why is that? Focus on issues, focus on problems, problem solving. The moment you become a problem solver, you address a problem solving, there are certain things you don't do.
What would you say to an argument that people will make and say, in reference to the NRM, that possibly the problem with DP, with FDC, I'll excuse UPC for a moment, is that they have not had the opportunity to get the power. And what has held the NRM together, because Jack Savity was a senior member of the NRM, you were together before he broke away to create FDC. Ingrid was in NRM before she moved to join FDC. Now that FDC has splintered again. You've never been in NRM, sorry for that. But there are many members, many of the founders of FDC once belonged to the NRM.
Yes.
Many of the founders of ANT, for example, once belonged to the NRM.
Yes.
So those are splinters that got away from NRM. It hasn't remained solid, as you would say, but it has kept control.
No, the issue of solidarity, NRM, if you compare it with all the actors in our political field, it has been the most solidified. And there are reasons why. And you can explain that. When President Museveni talks about the goals, unity, industrialization or transformation, African integration, those are focuses which keep you together. People move away, they can move away, okay?
But the core stays.
The core stays. You see, what is happening, what has happened to DP, for example? The core is not there. The core is not there. Now, what we are talking about now with even FDC, the issue is whether there is a core and who is holding the core. Because you see, what has happened with NRM is that people come and go, but the core is there. There is a continuity. People come. Some of these people may come back to NRM because there is something solid that has...
The center is holding.
The center is holding. And why is that? It's not just because of a leader, although that's very important, but it's also because of what the ideology is all about. because the target is problem solving. Problem solving demands that you have to ignore distractions because you are up to solve problems. One of the things I can say very loudly, many of the parties we have in Uganda have one problem: Museveni. Remove Museveni. Remove Museveni. And that's not Uganda, the challenge. That's not our problem. Even if it was our problem, it's not the biggest problem. There are problems which are going to be here, whether Museveni is here or not. There are problems which have been here when the British were here. There are problems which are going to be here when Jack and Ingrid are no longer here. There are problems which need to be solved. Development. When Besigye was walking to work, I asked, are you walking to get jobs? After walking today, at the end of the day, do the jobs come on the market? If you don't solve a problem, you can play your games.
Ingrid, let me come to you. Professor Kabwejere talks about something critical. The FDC lacks a core. You gave your address as P.O. Box Katonga. Yes. What is the core of FDC? Does it still have a center? Is that center holding?
Thank you, Professor. But generally, we founded FDC for a cause. And our cause is well stipulated. It has been communicated to every Ugandan. We have values, we have objectives, we have a mission, we have a vision. So we came together to start that journey. And along the way, our colleagues, because of their selfishness, because of greed, like what he's saying, what has been happening in all parties anyway. Along the way, people who have been mandated to give us leadership, they decided to deviate from the cause, and they take their own routes, which we don't believe in. And we are founders. We have a history. Since we were founded, we have made tremendous successes in the country. He's talking about walk to work, and he says that he didn't know why Dr. Besigye was walking. He did not walk alone. We worked together, and we worked for a cause which we partly achieved, because at that time, the prices of goods had escalated. And we decided to park our cars because fuel was no longer affordable, the cost of living was no longer affordable. We parked our cars and we walked. And we saw prices getting reduced at that time. Now, going direct to the point, you said we have 2 executives, we have 2 chairpersons, how you introduced the program. But I want to assure you that you should also know that there is an executive which is legitimate and the one that is illegal. So our fight is not a fight for positions, we are fighting for our cause. We want to protect our cause. And the delegates conference which sat in Katonga took resolutions, and we resolved to implement Article 36 in our constitution. What does it say? When the delegates conference consider that the reason that we founded the party is no longer serving the purpose, they have the liberty to dissolve it. And that's where we are now. We have taken a decision to dissolve FDC because we want to protect our cause. We want to protect our history. We want to preserve our history. As I told you earlier, we are all founders. We found the party, but we found a few people, a few individuals hawking it and taking it away. We have been saying all this, and we have evidence. So we are saying we can no longer associate with them. Some people were telling us to reconcile. What do we reconcile about? Because we came together to bring about change in governance, to bring about better services. Professor is saying that we should not think about removing Museveni, but for me, if it was not about that, I wouldn't be in FDC. So if we took a journey with our colleagues to go to Masaka, and along the way, we see them going to Ruero, Do we really continue associating with them? What exactly do these people who are telling us to reconcile, what do they want us to reconcile about? Should we say, okay, we have now reconciled, now that you have decided to serve Museveni, he's the one to give you money to campaign, and he's acting according to, the party is acting according to his will, so should we also accept and reconcile? Because reconciling needs taking some, like abandoning some situations, and you support the other side. So we see there is no point that we can reconcile now. The only thing
what is the core of FDC? That's the question I'd put to you. What is holding FDC together? Is it still there, or it has fallen asunder?
At the moment, our cause is in Katonga. The leadership in Najanankumbi, we have disagreed with them because they have betrayed our cause. And that's the reason why we are calling over Ugandans, because our fight is now, it's a deliberate resistance against the cancer that has been killing parties. Because when
what is that cancer?
You have seen leaders hawking the parties. And if you want to cross, you can cross. Some people have crossed. And when someone has decided to cross, you can cross. But the fact that some leaders decide to pack the whole party and take it to the dictator, that's where our disagreement is. If they decide to cross, where and
as individuals?
Yes, as individuals, they can go, because it's not the first time. But packing all of us to take us to NRM, that's our disagreement. And we have said we cannot follow them. That's why you see the chairman, our legitimate chairman, Ambassador Waswabirigwa, there is also a court ruling. They took him to court, saying that he's a masquerader, he's not a party chairman. They wanted him to be arrested, they wanted him to be charged. But court has said, no, he's not a masquerader. So that's why we have come up with a
resolution for dissolution.
It is a legal step. We made this constitution, and we agreed that at a certain point, when things can no longer hold, we can dissolve the party and move on. And this is the resolution that we are going to implement. Processes have started. We are required to give a notice of 6 months, and it will be given. It has already been drafted. Anytime you will see it in the newspapers, and we will proceed with all the requirements of the law to have the party dissolved. Whatever happens after that, we are not in charge. They can be protected because they have someone to protect them, but for us, we will have made our point and we will have dissolved our party. We will go and explain to all our members. We will give them a way forward, and we will have a new party, which we will put back to the rail of the cause that we founded FDC.
The Honorable Jack Saviti, let me come to you. And to Professor's point, the center, the core of FDC, where in your view does that lie? How well is it holding?
We have one FDC.
As in the spirit of one Uganda, one people?
Yes, we have
one people, one Uganda.
Yes, we have one FDC. But when you have selfish people who don't want to follow the rules of the game, they think a party belongs to an individual, then things can't hold. This party was formed out of 4 groups. We had the Parliamentary Advocacy Forum, we had the Reform Agenda, we had independents who agreed to work with us, and we had another small party by Chapa Karuhanga.
Was it the National Democratic Forum or something?
Yes.
NDC?
We agreed to form a party and lead this country to where we think is the best approach. We came up with a constitution, which I came with. It is here. This constitution clearly states who does what and what we believe in as a party. But it has come to us as members of the party that some people within the party believe this party belongs to them. They don't want to follow the constitution. They want to remain automatic leaders forever. And that's the main problem why we have this conflict.
Someone...
in our party, every leader is supposed to occupy an office only 2 terms. It's constitutional. If you are a secretary general, if you are a president, if you are a chairman, if you are a treasurer general, if you are a leader, you have only 2 terms. You cannot occupy that office that you originally occupied more than twice. But some people in the party believe that it is their party, and therefore they should continue being the leaders.
When you refer to some people, are those people faceless? Can they be?
No.
Don't they have names? Don't they have a name? Don't they have an identity?
For example, we had the president of the party, Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Is he still a president?
Could you please let me first explain? Let me first explain. He's a man who thinks the party belongs to him. It is his. He wants to direct the party to take the direction he wants as an individual. Yet for us, we believe that since we have this constitution that guides us, we must take that direction. We agreed to have elections in this party. He was a signatory to it, but he believes he should guide us where he wants.
Are you being fair to Dr. Kizza Besigye, a man who relinquished his leadership before completing his term and said, you have a party, you follow your constitution, I give up the party to you, find leadership, I will continue contributing. And that was, I don't know how many years ago, almost 10 years ago? 2013?
2014.
Yeah, about 2013, 2014. 10 years down the road, you're still accusing him of wanting to dominate the party, wanting it to follow his directions, when he has not held a leadership position in that political party. And between the time he left to 2014, you've had how many leaders in between? Are you being fair to him?
Yes, I am. I'm being fair to him, and what I'm saying is true. Because he is the main architect of all this that is going on.
Of all what?
This conflict that is within the party.
Is it because, would it be fair to say, Professor said, what has held NRM together at the core is that it has an ideology. It has problems to solve, and it is focusing on those problems. What would you say to someone who says that maybe Dr. Besigye is keeping true to the main goal, and the people maybe around him see it that way, and you're seeing the constitution, the party structures, the offices, the big things? Would that be fair?
But that contradicts the constitution. You see, in this constitution, a president has certain functions to perform. A chairman has specific functions to perform. NEC has specific functions to perform. And we have a direction, we have an ideology, we have a direction. It's not an individual.
You face dissolution, Honorable Jack Saviti, you face the threat of dissolution under your Article 36 of your constitution because members of your party, at least founding members of your party, say you have packed the party in a box and wanted to deliver it. The accusation at the center is that you've deviated from the cause and have decided to go a different direction, which is transactional politics, not problem-solving politics.
Who has deviated? It's not the party leadership. It is those who want to take over the party and take a different direction, right, that are trying to deviate the party from its course.
Ingrid wouldn't agree with you, would she?
Yeah, if you can allow me to come in at this point. I know where Honorable Jack Sabit is coming from, and with much respect, some of us are very, very disappointed because we have been all along looking unto him as our mentor, as our elder, but coming on air to applaud his anger against an innocent man who has done who has sacrificed all his life for this country. I understand it's not only anger, but it's an assignment. Whatever is going on in Najja Nkumbi today is an assignment, which is highly facilitated, very well supervised, and they think they can accomplish it. Dr. Besigye, as you said, he served his term. He's no longer party president, but he's our founding president. We should give him that respect. I want to tell you what they did. Very recently, I think you hear the mobilization that is going on. They have decided to delete the entire register, entire membership of 25 years of FDC members.
The argument I've had, Honorable Ingrid Turinawe, is that the team that sits at Katonga are no longer members of the Forum for Democratic
Change. That is the point I'm trying
because in your constitution, you provided for how a person becomes a member and maintains their membership. That you are required to renew that membership
Every year.
Every year.
Yes.
That the entire team that sits at Katonga has not renewed its membership. Therefore, you have no claim.
The constitution is here.
You have no claim. You abandoned the party because you haven't followed your constitution to renew your membership.
Honorable Jack Sabit is a founder of this party. I want him to show me an article that requires me to pay membership every year. Let me read you the article, which they have misused. It's on page 7, Article 10. Rather, yes, Article 10, membership, page 7. It reads, I will not read it.
You read it, read it.
You read it.
I will
He
just
also has a
read,
copy of the
I will
Constitution.
just read the subsection 5, which says,
No, I think for the benefit of our viewers and our listeners
yes,
who don't have the opportunity to hold a copy of the Constitution,
yes.
read Article
I
10.
read the entire article.
Read Article 10
It
and then
has-
go to a sabbatical.
Okay, let me first
7.
read Article 10, Section 1. It reads, membership of the party includes the following categories. Life membership, annual membership, corporate membership, honorary membership. 2, the National Executive Committee may form time to time, determine other categories of the said membership. Membership of the party shall be open to all Ugandans. That one I can also leave at that. 4,
So go to the one you wanted to refer
yes,
to.
an applicant for membership of the party shall complete a registration form specified in Schedule 2 of the Constitution. Upon approval, payment of membership and annual subscription.
Annual subscription.
Subscription is not membership. I want you to understand this.
You go on.
Membership is paid once, then subscription, we put subscription for the purposes of fundraising. If I don't subscribe for a year, it doesn't take away my membership. I want him to show me an article that requires me to pay membership every year. I'm reading to him that this is annual subscription, not membership. So what they have done, you can imagine, for 25 years, we've been recruiting members who have paid their membership. We left them with a data. I told you I was the national mobilizer at Najjanankumbi, in charge of recruitment, in charge of organization, in charge of mobilization. So we had a database which was almost 5 million, and we would pride in it. Our votes would be stolen, but we would be having our database. All of it has been deleted because some members have not subscribed. Even those who have subscribed for fundraising purposes. That's how we bought Najjanankumbi headquarters. We were subscribing. Someone would pay Rukumi, 1,000. Others were free to pay in millions to buy that property, including members of parliament who would commit their salaries, part of their salaries, to buy that headquarters. So they recently introduced a new system of registration. And they started registering from number 001.
So who's number 001 now?
I think it's Jack Sabit or
let's
someone.
Let's take a break and pick this conversation up in a moment. Let's take a break. Our professor will come to you in a moment.
Just from the party.
Let's take a break. We are still coming to you from 106.1 Next Radio and on NBS TV. This is the Big Talk. And Kanere is out in the marathon in Kasese. He's running the Rwenzori Marathon in Kasese, which is one of the big calendar events that are happening. But here, we're discussing the Forum for Democratic Change. Some people have described it as once a very promising party in the opposition, emerged with reform agenda to challenge for the 2001 elections, registered as a political party in 2005, just ahead of the 2006 general elections when Uganda returned to multi-party politics. Hardly 25 years down the road, instead of celebrating 25 years down the road, we have P.O. Box Katonga, P.O. Box HQ at Najjanankumbi. What has happened to this political party? And I have in studio here, I have Ingrid Turinawe, I have the Honorable Jack Sabiti, and Professor Tarsis Bazana Kabwejere. Ingrid, I'd like to give you a minute to conclude what you're saying, and then I'll come to Professor.
Yes,
and I'll come to you back.
Before we went for the break, I was talking about how everyone has been deleted from the register in Najjanankumbi. And the registration they are doing now, they have started with member 001.
So the party is starting afresh?
Afresh, member 001. All our work for the past years, some of us volunteered to suffer. We've been suffering, we've been passing through here to put together what has been existing. So they have decided to dismantle everything and dismantle everything. They have closed the gate in Najjanankumbi. When you go there today, the gate is closed. The gate. Nobody is accepted to access their headquarters. Before you make a call,
you seek special permission.
Yes, you seek permission from above. They have surrounded our headquarters with the Chifesi, with the police.
Chifesi is what?
With
people listening to us and the viewers don't know who Chifesi is.
Armed goons, armed with sticks, stones. You know the story. You know what happened. You saw our chairman climbing the wall. You saw everything. So that's what has become our headquarters. But as I said before, this is a well-facilitated mission which they are trying to implement. That's why you see him, even the person who calls himself the party president, the one we really introduced. I was the head of the campaign of Honorable Amuriat. He wasn't there. I moved with him in the whole country. Nobody knew him. I want to apologize to our members. Really, you forgive us. You forgive me. I was the head of the campaign of Amuriat. I moved with him in every country, including his own home. And all the leaders who were in Teso did not vote for him. The Honorable Alistair Lasso, Angelina Osege, Rico Haba, all the leaders, national leaders, were telling us, do you know what you are marketing? And we marketed him. And knowing we didn't know what he was going to offer. So now we see him deleting everybody, including life members.
In the new register,
Yes.
if you've had access to it, who is member 001?
Honorable Jack Sabit, I think. I'm not very sure. But they have made themselves from 001. They selected themselves. They made themselves 001 up to the numbers that they need. And now they are not ashamed to say,
You give it to him.
they are not ashamed
You see, let him
to
let
say
her
that
tell-
we are not
Let her
members.
tell the truth. She's just trying to.
Yes, you are the
Jack-
ones who
Jack-
are already saying
the
that we are no
Honorable Jack
longer
Sabiti,
members. Eh.
has just shared with me, for the benefit of our viewers, and we'll zoom this at an appropriate time, his membership card. It's Forum for Democratic Change, FDC 1306. That's the member number. FDC 1306.
1306.
1306.
Yes, so you are not 001.
You are the one saying I'm
You are
01.
not 001,
It
but
has-
there is a 001.
It has
There is a
Honorable-
001.
It has Honorable Saviti's NIN number, the National Identification Number, member name, Chrissy Jack Sabiti, and the other details. He's from Ruchiga constituency, in Ruchiga district, Rwamuchuchi sub-county, Nyarurambi parish, Murambi village. I hope I picked those correctly. Let me see if you can zoom in and get the details of this. It is 1306. That's his membership number. So 00.
So I'm not one number.
So you are not
number
001. That's clear. But there is a 001.
Don't tell lies.
There is a 001. No.
Honorable
Please,
Jack
be
Sabiti,
frank.
are you recreating a new political party?
No.
Are you recreating FDC?
You see, this party is one. It has this constitution. We have not changed this constitution, right? It is the constitution we started with and continues to be our constitution. So for someone to come up and say, we have changed the constitution, we have changed things in this party, that's a lie.
Professor,
Well,
you're listening to all this exchange.
very clearly, I don't want to be misunderstood by viewers to think that perhaps I'm also a segment of FDC,
A faction.
No,
another faction.
certainly we're tapping into your long experience as a
Yes,
political
yes,
actor, as an academician, as an elder.
yes.
We need that to broaden this discussion beyond
Very
the
much.
Forum for Democratic
Very
Change
much, very much.
and its internal
You
issues.
see, when I said problem solving should guide any political organization, any political effort, UPC came in with its approach. It didn't work. Its president was overthrown twice by its own leadership, army. Okay? Amin came in. He said he thought he was going to be our savior. He also failed. We came in 79, Lule 68 days, Venaisa, military commission, UNLF collapsed. So I think FDC should study the history of Uganda. Why would we have all these failures and collapses? Look at NRM. Anybody who has studied the history of NRM, you know the position of Kategaya. May God rest his soul. He walked out. But when he walked out, everybody imagined that, oh, he has been with Museveni, they were together in school, then there would be chaos. He went out, and the end came. Name them. Besigye. Mbabazi. Mbabazi was the prime minister. Huh? When he chose to stand and so on, he's now a member of
They were
NRM.
decent people. He left. And
Okay. Now you can even go on. Even earlier on, you had what is the name? General Tinyifuza. He walked out. Now the issue is when I said the core. What is the core of FDC? Because you see, the core means discipline. If you are to run away and you are in a party, what what code of behavior, what discipline do you have? We are talking of paying
Subscription.
a subscription. But you have to have a belief. A belief. Do you believe in what the party stands for? Do you believe in a legacy it can create? What difference is it supposed to make?
Professor, at the center of the disagreement in FDC, where it started from, to Jack Sabiti and the group at Naja Nankumbi, they will say, Besigye left, but he actually never left. He wanted to retain control from
Yes,
elsewhere.
but this is what I'm saying. Yes.
Besigye, as a member of the party, as its founding president, comes to the nation and says, some dirty money was received by the leadership at Naja Nankumbi during elections.
I was coming to that. Because this accusation, they have to demonstrate to the world, okay, that it is true, that Naja Nankumbi was bought. Okay? Secondly, if Naja Nankumbi is capable of being bought, then what quality is it? You see? Because the whole question of somebody bribing you and you lose your ground, it shows your ground was not cultivated properly. Because when I hear this argument, even is it true that actually NRM, Museveni bought Naja Nankumbi? Is it true? But suppose it were even true. If you are a piece of cake and you can be bought from a market, why should anybody bother about you?
Does Naja Nankumbi politically?
Yes.
Because there is the legal where
But
whoever...
before you come in, who would have been bought in the Naja Nankumbi other than believing that the leaders of Naja Nankumbi are such a, pieces of papers, literally, that you can buy like you buy a banana? Why would that be attributed to them as if that quality is in Naja Nankumbi on the hill and not in other members of the party? If it can happen to Naja Nankumbi, why wouldn't it happen to Katonga? Now, you see, this is where when personality becomes the dominant factor, not the value, not the principles.
But Professor,
you see,
let me step in. Just one minute. We are talking the legality. Yes, he who alleges must prove. That's the legal principle. But politically, in a country where corruption is so pervasive, does Naja Nankumbi have an equal obligation not to be perceived as people who could actually be bought, like you have said, a piece of cake, a cluster of bananas from the market?
But look.
But let me explain this, please.
If somebody accuses you, for example, if somebody were to say, Kabwejere has come to this NBS today because he has been bribed. If he says that, now it becomes now an issue whether Kabwejere is going to go in the street and say, no, I wasn't bought. What if it is not true, only to spoil my name?
What if it is true?
Well, if it is true, then demonstrate it. That's why I have said it should be demonstrated very clearly, even those who are bought and how it was done, so that people can isolate the individuals. Because you see, you didn't buy a party. If you buy individuals, the individuals are not a party.
Let's go back a little. When he made the allegations, Dr. Kizza Besigye said, one of the leaders of the party from Naja Nankumbi, specifically the Secretary General, carried in a bag 300 million shillings, drove it to his house, and said, keep this money.
For what?
For us.
For what?
We've had other members, I want to be fair, we've had other members like Ibrahim Semujunganda. He's a senior member of FDC. He was, until the reshuffle recently, was the chief, the whip, the party whip in Parliament, and spokesperson. He was spokesperson for the party in Parliament, sitting in, a spokesperson for the General Party, and I think whip in Parliament. He is an elected member of Parliament. And he says, yes, this money was received. It was too much. They took some to Dr. Besigye. They gave me some to buy a van. They gave me some to do this. why do you think, in your view, that FDC has done proper soul searching? You called it looking at the history of this country, the legacy and the history they can create, the change they can make. Have they done sufficient soul searching to say to an ordinary member, citizen of this country, not aligned to FDC, or maybe a member of the other political party, but has been looking at FDC, to say, well, this is a party that can carry my own individual aspirations?
Okay, but you see, at the bottom line, even if that was had happened, it shows you that the party, the essence of the party in the leaders to behave like that shows that the party doesn't exist. Because you see, look at Christianity, look at Islam, there are certain principles you must hold. If leaders of the party can be bought, then it means that the very thing called that party itself is a sham. Because you see,
But Mr.
Let me first finish.
Please.
Because you see, you can blame the buyer. Okay? You can say, why this one bought? But why do you accept to be bought? And if you have a party and you have run it and you have character, you have picked people, they are leaders, and they can be bought like Kabaragara, then there is something you should check on whether you as a party, you did a good job. Because you see, I have said it publicly myself, if you see children stealing, study the family where they have grown. Stealing is learned from those people. So if the party, if you can have Jack Sabit, who says this, and you have Tunawi says this, and they have been in the same party, and they say this one was bought, and you were together in the party for many years, why didn't you create the character that endures all the challenges? If you know that NRM buys, bribes, why don't create a party, create leaders who can...
And full profit.
Yes.
Full profit against...
yes, full proof.
Let me say this.
Because that's why there is that's why there is no reconciliation.
Excuse me.
That's why there is no reconciliation.
This question
so now
of,
he's saying
this question
Jack
of
is saying
money,
this.
This question of money was raised by Kizza Besigye.
You wanted him to keep silent about
Wait,
it.
please. Why don't you give me a chance, please?
Please, let me
Please.
explain.
Please. He came up with this allegation. He came and presented it to the National Delegates Conference, right? National Council. He told the National Council that there is money that came in the party, and he has evidence from one agent in State House who gave him that information, and that this money that was used during Amriat's campaign was a bribe. I was the Treasurer General of FDC for 10 years. We looked for money for Besigye, and he knows. We solicited funds from different sources, abroad, and internally here. And we did that job. Besigye would go outside and get money. At times, he would not even declare it in our party. He would use it. At times, he would complain internally. But please, why don't you give me a chance?
I'm listening.
Right? He would, but we knew he was doing this in the best interest of the party. Now, when Amriat stood, he never wanted Amriat to stand.
Honorable Sabit, let me just...
I want to take in that direction so that you see, you know the genesis.
Let me just put a quick question to you that helps to put context to this.
Yes.
For all the allegations about money, in FDC and this particular money.
Yes.
I haven't had a single person say Jack Sabiti received this money.
Besigye said it.
No, they said, I think they accused the Honorable Nandala and the Honorable Amuriat.
Yes.
You were the, and I think Honorable Kanya, from what we have heard. Your name hasn't come out as prominently, yet you were the Treasury General of the party.
Yes.
What does that say? What
Yeah,
does
this
that
is why I want to explain this. Now, Besigye never wanted any other person to stand as a president of the party. Actually, he dismissed the idea of having a candidate. And me and Nandara and Amuriat had a discussion with Besigye in his house for about 4 hours discussing this matter, requesting him as our former president to help us go and do the funding, the fundraising.
The usual fundraising.
And he refused. I think he thought that we would have no capacity to raise funds. In the end, since I was the Treasury General, Nandara Mafai was my deputy, we knew the sources where we were getting money. During Besigye time, we looked for money.
So why had you gone to request him to help you raise the money when you knew?
Yeah,
where you
because
could find
there are
money from?
external sources where he used to go and get money. Yes.
And that's very interesting.
And he was in charge of that.
Where does this leave you? If we look at the broader picture, because getting lost in the internal, this detail
Yes.
of the discussion, there are two quick questions I would like to put to the two of you and even Professor. One, there is a resolution passed by a section of people who say they're your members, the members of FDC, to dissolve the party under Article 36. And that would, and that would of course affect you as chairman, because I think Katonga doesn't agree with you as being chairman.
But why do you always talk about, we don't have an office in Katonga?
Well,
If this is one of the headquarters.
I am a journalist.
The reality,
What is the reality? Someone comes and imposes himself.
I am a journalist.
And he says, this is an office of FDC.
I am a journalist.
And you say,
I am a journalist.
yes.
I am a journalist, a media practitioner, who has covered
Besigye
Ingrid
is not a
Turinawe,
member of the
who
executive.
has covered Ingrid Turinawe as a member of FDC at Najanankumbi. I meet Ingrid Turinawe in studio, who says, address Katonga. I have known Kiza Besigye as a founder, president of the Forum for Democratic Change, based at Najanankumbi, now sitting at Katonga.
Is she still a member?
Hold it a moment. There is a whole section. It is between FDC, Najanankumbi, Katonga to say we are one party, the other one operates in this way, the other one operates in this way. It cannot be for us to say there is no group here, there is no group here. When
We don't have any branch of FDC
Katonga
at
issued
Katonga.
a statement.
Katonga is where Besigye sits with his office,
Katonga issued a
but
statement.
it has nothing to do with the party.
Honorable Jack Sabit, it would be dishonest to our viewers and to Ugandans,
Yes.
to say what we covered as media of a delegates conference at Katonga, saying it is FDC, and what we covered of a press conference held at Najanankumbi, saying it is FDC, is unreal.
No, but
this exists.
But that one, notwithstanding, we are talking of leadership of a country. Huh? It's not a question of
Leadership
here and
of a
there.
party.
We are talking of a party which is supposed to take over power
Yes.
and lead Uganda.
Yes.
And we only have less than a year, about a year.
But you have your office. You have your office.
Wait,
You have
wait.
any other office. You go to your office.
Jack,
Do you have another office?
Jack, I want to see you as the president of Uganda at some point. But I want to see a way to that point and what will help me be a citizen in a stable country. That's why I came here. I didn't come here to
But
just...
who has destabilized this country?
Yeah, no.
You see, you
We
are
are
talking
talking-
as if...
No, wait.
Let's not go into
Wait.
other
The
other areas.
moment an instrument, a political instrument, is unstable, and it at the same time claims to be the leadership guide of this country, I get worried. So when I am sitting here in this program, on this day, on the 24th of August 2024, and I have two people talking about the same party, and the same party wants to take you over Uganda and lead it, and I am a citizen, I am interested. Yes, and that's why I'm here. So the issue is, if this dialogue, if this confusion is within a party, what future do we see in that party as a leader of Uganda, solving problems of development, problems of cattle thieving, problems of education, health,
Poverty.
Of poverty. Because you see, if a party cannot cohere, if the founder member, who is the founder member here with Besigye, and is here, and the two cannot reconcile,
Saying Besigye is not a member.
and you cannot reconcile, how will they be able to lead the country? Now, if we say Katonga is useless, okay, go away. We say now, Janankumbi, you are the one. But
Who is
what
saying
is-
go
what-
away? Who is saying go away?
You really, since we started here, you haven't said so?
Go away?
That Katonga doesn't exist?
Yeah.
No, Katonga is not any structure of
But
FDC.
the people who are in Katonga, Jack Sabit, you know them. They are people you have known, you have sat together, you have worked together as members.
And
of the
I
same party.
recognize as an office of FDC.
No, I'm not saying it.
You have you in
The issue is
NRM.
not
You in NRM. You
Yes.
have your office.
But
down
when
here.
you cross the gates, what do we do?
Look, the issue is not
Because
geography.
you don't want to go
Did
there.
you chase everyone in Nagasaki? They are allowed there.
This one ran away from us.
Jack Sabit.
He is no longer even a member.
No,
He competed in
Don't
a
provoke
different
me.
party.
Don't provoke
Yes,
me.
that's
what
I
is
can
provoking
give you
me.
the details because
Please.
when you mismanage the party, we cannot accept to remain
Then you leave.
clapping for you. We have
Yes.
party
Let's
structures,
ask
we
how
have
this-
tribunals,
how this
we know
discussion
how
here-
elections are handled.
how this
because
discussion
we
here-
know how they
We
are
have diverted
handled.
the discussion.
Yes, I see the way Professor has directed it. When we come back, where does this leave your struggle
Yes.
for leadership of the country? The two of you,
Yes.
no matter where you see yourselves in FDC. After a short commercial
We
break.
have a young population.
106.1 Next Radio.
Still watching and listening to the Big Talk on Next Radio and on NBS TV. We're discussing the Forum for Democratic Change. Someone just sent me a message and said, I am being unfair to the Honorable Jack Sabiti because I've not given you adequate time to explain what you think is the cause of the problem. So I want to give you 2 minutes to crystallize what the cause of this problem has been. But the bigger picture is, do you see this as a distraction to your struggle? How much of a distraction is this to the broader struggle? And when do you get yourselves back to struggling to take control of the country as you have been wanting to do for the last 25 years?
You have deviated from what I had expected to discuss. Why is FDC divided?
I actually wanted us to focus more on what that division means for what FDC says it stands for.
FDC has a constitution. We follow the structures of the party, the ideology of the party, the thinking of the party. We don't follow an individual. We have the structures which direct the affairs of the party. Besigye served us as the president of the party, completed his term. We have now other leaders elected to run the party. Members can contribute through different branches, but the leadership at Najanankumbi is the authorized structure to run the party. We have nothing to do with Katonga. Katonga has people who belong to FDC. That's their office, but it's not the office of the head of FDC. But when you try to fuse the two to be part of FDC, I wonder. If you have a rebel group which, moves somewhere and, and you recognize it as the authentic, right, leadership, I find it strange.
Honorable Sabiete, the media
Now,
is
those
outside,
people,
is outside of the party.
Sorry, those people who sat at Katonga as a delegates conference, many of them are not members even of the party. Right? Including even my sister here. Right?
Was she once a member?
Yes, she was once a member. And she defected, she stood as independent, and as per our constitution, once you stand as independent, you cease to be a member of the party.
For a party
And
that,
these are the people who now
party-
come to confuse us.
Honorable Sabiete, for a party that has tried to gain leadership of this country, first in 2006, again in 2011, and again in 2016,
Yes.
and in 2021, and has not succeeded. Politically, I would imagine that you believe in every vote counts, every member is important, every person watching you out
yes,
there
that's
is
true.
important.
Yes.
When you discard and say, these are rebels, they walked out, they're not members of the party, what signal are you sending to people who believe in Ingrid, who believe in Kizza Besigye, who would have wanted to support or to vote for FDC?
Don't include Besigye in Ingrid. Besigye has never run out from our party. Besigye is a member of the party. Yes, we recognize him. He's a founding member, right? But he has become just a rebel. He wants to take over the party. He wants to come back and take over the party.
What about-
without going through the normal procedure, the constitution.
What about people like Salam Musumba? People like your
Salam
former-
Musumba is a member of the party.
And Chairman Birigu.
Waswa Birigwa,
He's a member.
party chairman.
Yeah, he's a member
And
of the party.
the whole group that was.
Yes, the member of the party.
What does this mean to your broader struggle for leadership of the country?
We only appeal to our members to unite, and we have been calling upon the Katonga group to come and we unite and move ahead together.
You now say Katonga group. You said we shouldn't talk about the Katonga
Yes.
group.
Yeah,
What is the Katonga
that's why
group?
you have
What is the Katonga group? What is the group that you call the Katonga group?
Those who meet at Katonga.
In what capacity?
In Besigye's office,
Are they
In what
members?
capacity?
right?
In what capacity?
In what capacity?
Yes.
As friends of Besigye. Yes.
Are they group of FDC members? Would you call them?
It's not a recognized group. Yes.
Yes. But
It's
you
not
acknowledge that
part
there's
of
a
the
group.
structure. It's not part of the structure.
Yes. But you said you acknowledge that there's a group that sits at Katonga.
We know Besigye as our former president. He sits at Katonga. But we normally see people going there to sit, to discuss, right? And it has become now a rebel group.
When they address the media, do you watch and follow what they're saying?
Yes.
They met at their last meeting, they passed a resolution under Article 36 of your Constitution and said they are moving to dissolve FDC.
They have no power to dissolve FDC. And what article?
What does Article 36 provide? You have the copy of the Constitution.
If you look at Article 36, there must be a delegates conference.
They claim they held a delegates conference before they passed that resolution, and it is the one that passed that resolution.
That's illegal. It's an illegal delegates conference, so-called delegates conference, right? Because the chairman must convene the delegates conference.
Chairman Waswa Birigwa chaired the meeting that happened called the delegates conference at Katonga. What do you say about that?
He's no longer a chairman of the party.
Okay, fair enough. Professor, just before I come to you, let me quickly go to Ingrid and ask the same question. What does this mean to the broader struggle for FDC to take leadership of the country, and what message do you think you're sending to potential supporters, potential voters, potential members watching you now and have been following what has been going on in your party?
Thank you, Charles. Before I go to the broader struggle and where we are going, I wanted to to thank Honorable Jack Sabiti and to say it's good news because he reached in this studio without knowing the difference between membership and subscription. And when I read it to him, he has now accepted that members in Katonga are FDC members. So you worry why Najanankumbi is doing what they do because they think they are holding a role, but they don't know what is there. I have much worry about Honorable Jack Sabit calling himself a party chairman when he knows that he was elected illegally. The delegates conference, what they called the delegates conference that elected him was convened illegally because Article 28 is very clear. I asked him to read for me an article where people can be deleted from the register. He didn't give it to me. But Article 28 is about the functions of the party leaders, and it talks about the party chairman. Mm-hmm. And this time I'm talking about Chairman Birigwa.
Talk about
the chairman is the one who convenes the National Delegates Conference.
Wasn't that a matter resolved by court?
It wasn't. It wasn't. There is a court. I hope he understands the difference between an injunction and a judgment. A ruling to an injunction and a judgment to a case. Mm. So I hope he understands it. But it seems he doesn't understand it. The way he doesn't understand the difference between membership and subscription. So he was not elected the chairman of the party. Our chairman, substantial chairman, is Chairman Birigwa, and he's the one who can convene the delegates,
including yourself.
I didn't want to go into that, but you are provoking me because we have structures. He's talking about structures. He doesn't know that there is a structure called Elections Tribunal, which was dismantled by the new leadership in Najanankumbi. When we went into elections, they dismantled the election tribunal. So they started appointing candidates. When I went to elections, not me alone and other members, we had petitions. But because they had dismantled the election tribunal, which would sit into our petitions are still there. They were not answered, and we decided to defy.
Mr. Nawe,
so I didn't want to go into that. But I am happy he has recognized Dr. Besigye as a member. Honorable Salam Musumba is a member. Chairman Birigwa is the chairman, and the delegates sat. Going back to the question you asked me.
You were bound by time on how long leadership can serve. Yes. Because of COVID-19, you're not able to renew your leadership.
Yes.
When was and how was Wassa Birigwa's leadership as chairman? How does it get sustained?
Like Nandara Mafabi, like Honorable Amriat, that tenure was extended by the delegates conference. And they remained working, they remained in offices because there was COVID. And after COVID, because of the confusion, the tenure was also extended. The delegates conference sat and gave interim leadership to some people to take us into a transition. And that is what is happening, and it is accepted by this constitution.
The question I asked.
The question you asked about our way forward and the struggle.
What this means?
For us, we are not going to deviate from our cause. I want to inform him that FDC is not a headquarter. FDC is not individuals. So even when Museveni came into power, he had no offices. So the bragging of saying offices are in Najanankumbi, it doesn't matter. So long as we have the members, we can have headquarters anywhere. So we are in Katonga, we are regrouping, we are refreshing, we are reloading, we are refocusing, and soon we will be there. We will not waste our time attacking these individuals the way they do, with anger, because they are paid, instead of answering issues, instead of addressing the questions that are being asked, they just start attacking individuals. If we can go to discuss the issues of money, we cannot leave this place. But for us as members, we are satisfied. We got evidence that they got the money, they shared the money. Up to now, they are still sharing that money. You are seeing the rallies they are holding. We had never had...
The money hasn't been used up to now.
Up to now, it was actually a lot. When they took it to Dr. Besigye...
The money they are using, where does it come from?
When they took it, it is coming from members, and no one is...
And you think we have no members?
And no one is charities. No one is complaining. But the money they are talking about, when you bring money in the party, and we don't know, leaders don't know, you are the only one who knows where it's coming from. He talked about the sources.
Are you still focused on the struggle? Would you say you're still focused on taking leadership of the country?
And very soon we are going to communicate the country.
Professor Kabwejire asked a critical question.
Yes.
Do you demonstrate, do you think as FDC, I'll use what Sabiti called Katonga Group, Najanankombe headquarters, do you feel that you're sending a message to Ugandans that they can trust FDC to lead this country?
No, in every struggle, the journey has, you expect hurdles and challenges. But the way you handle the challenges, they expected us to go.
How do you think you're handling your challenges?
We are handling the challenges. We are dissolving our party, which we founded, and it has now solved itself. We are dissolving it, and we are regrouping. We are starting afresh.
Starting
and
afresh
we will
means
not,
what?
And we will
creating
not
a new political party?
Yes, including, because it was resolved by the delegates conference. So our members should be waiting any time we are going to introduce to them a new political party.
Why are you insisting on FDC when your plan is to start a new political party? You have had former president of your party, Mugisha Muntu, walked out with your former secretary general, former leader of opposition, started a new party called Alliance for National Transformation. You had a former member, Betty Kamya, walked out of FDC, started Federal Alliance Party. Why aren't you walking away, start a new party, and leave Najanankombe to do what it wants?
All those founder members, we are going to consult them. Whether they have gone or not, so long as they are still interested, we are going to consult them about this dissolution. Because we have a property. That property is not anyone's home. It's our property. And the Constitution is very clear. FDC, there are members who are dissolving FDC.
Yes,
and
yes, just conclude and then Professor should come in.
I can conclude this issue by saying, for us, we are determined to the cause. Whether they are officers or not, we shall be there. Our people should not lose hope. Some people had lost hope. Some people had lost the energy. But we are telling them we are bringing more hope. We are reorganizing. We are branding. We cannot let them not expect us to go and fold our hands when our cause is being betrayed. We have been betrayed. We are so sad. But we will...
Yes, Prof.
In all this, where is Uganda? In all this, where are we going? Because those of us who have witnessed independence come, I was in Intare school in '62, doing my O-level. And I saw Chiwanuka in '61 come in, and the way he went. And I have followed the whole way, the way finally he went. I have seen UPC in alliance with Kabaka Yeka, and I saw where it ended. I saw Amin coming in, and I saw how he ended. I was involved in the Moshi, and I saw how UNLF ended. I have seen a struggle in Ruero, NRA, and I have seen since '86 what we are all going through. I have seen parties formed, registered. I think on register we have more than 30 parties. I have seen parties winning so many seats like FDC. I have seen the Bob Wine coming in.
Yes.
I have seen all this. Now I'm seeing FDC with the people I know also going the way it seems others have gone. And all these are supposed to be efforts at stabilizing Uganda. We are here temporarily. We are supposed to build a capacity, a strength, a foundation for future generations. So my question And that's what I would be participating in this debate for. My question is, where does FDC, whether it is Katonga, whether it is Najanankumbi, whether it is Besigye, whether it is who, where does this take us? What message can we get from this arrangement, this performance, in a year, just over a year to the next elections? And if you have this kind of bickering, going on, even if tomorrow they say the Katonga and we come together, would they come together and make a warm bed and produce the right baby for us as a country? So this is the question. To me, the two of you who are here, FDC, this is not the first time. When General Muntu walked out, it was because there was no compromise. Muntu is a leader. Muntu has been, but he couldn't communicate. He couldn't continue there. So he went away.
Many leaders have left.
Yes, many have left. Now the question is when they leave, and this time now, if Katonga leaves, or if Najanankumbi stays, what core do we have that we can have hope in to liberate Uganda from all these problems we have, all these challenges we have? Internationally, we are in trouble. Our raw materials are being taken. We are trying to generate oil. We have all these. Now, I'm interested now in seeing, well, if it's not NRM, and these people are saying NRM, well, not good. Then I look at Katonga. Then I look at Najanankumbi. I see, where is my hope? What can I tell my grandchildren that I have existed in Uganda and I have participated in quote unquote building a stability? And I say, as I'm zooming off, I say, grandchild, there is Katonga. You go to Katonga. Oh, no. So my problem is, what answer to Uganda's problems can we get from either Katonga or Najanankumbi? If you people are engaged in Besigye, and so on, this bickering, this personality challenge doesn't help us. I would want to hear, I want to take over Uganda. If you are going to take over Uganda, what are you going to do? I am here. Am I going to be safe in this Uganda? Those of us who ran out of Uganda during their meantime are now too old to be able to run again. And I don't want these accusations. Please, these accusations that Katonga was bribed, please, if you have a party and you don't have leaders who cannot be bribed, then you have a problem. That means the discipline you established is not enough. That means even when they become presidents, they can be bribed. Like I am sorry to say this, what I think is happening in Kenya. I'm not so sure about Ruto. You could be bribed to send your people to Haiti. So I don't want to have a situation where FDC Katonga or FDC Najanankumbi takes over, and then I am as worried as I was when Amin was in power. This is my problem. And it is a problem that you people must face. What message are you giving to young people, people who have been born? We have a population which has been born in this period of NRM. If you are going to give us an alternative, what alternative are you giving that can give them a guarantee that you are really leading better than Uganda, than NRM?
How are you getting beyond what Professor calls the bickering within FDC to place Uganda in this discussion? Start with Jack, and then I'll come to you.
When you have an institution and that institution does not follow the rules and the guidelines of that institution, and individuals believe in themselves more than the ideology of that institution, then you cannot find yourself together working properly. And that's the problem we have had in the parties in Africa, particularly in Uganda, where you find an individual interest overrides public interest or party interest. Unless the leadership of any party, whether it be movement or DP or FDC, unless that leadership focuses on the core reasons why you formed that party, then there will always be turmoil in that party. If you can't serve your term and finish and let another person come and he serves, then that party cannot survive unless there is too much dictatorship in that party, as some parties, we have seen them in Africa, even in Uganda. Individuals dictate, and they even call themselves stronger.
Why haven't you been able to transcend that individualism? Because the accusation that the NRM levels against parties in the opposition, particularly the FDC, is that the focus has been on the individual Museveni. Now, that individualism is being, you've used the word individual and individual multiple times, I think in reference to Dr. Kizza Besigye, has come into the FDC. Why would an entire political party, with some of the best brains in this country, at least from its foundation, from PAFO, from Reform Agenda, from NDF, and from independents, as you described them, why have you not been able to transcend this individual or these individuals?
Yeah, because you see, the individual interest continues to disorganize. We have failed to adhere to the rules of the game.
Let me go back to the question I put to you, and then I'll come to you on the broader question. Many commentators, including within the FDC, said Dr. Kizza Besigye propelled Patrick Oboi Amuriat to the leadership of FDC. So how can you say then that the same individual has not wanted to relinquish when Patrick Oboi Amuriat is now the president, has been the president for the last, since 2017? Yeah, since 2017 to date. Would that be a fair accusation? I want to go back.
Well, it was not Besigye that, helped Amuriat to be, he was among the people in FDC who identified Amuriat to be the leader. It's not an individual that chooses, right? It's a delegates conference that chooses.
Yes,
right?
But they say, as
right? There were many people who had been identified.
Yes.
And through discussions, we agreed that this goes there, right? But
if that be the case, because it's important that we dispense with this, if that be the case, then how fairly would you say Besigye continues to domineer over the party when, since 2017, Oboi Patrick Amuriat has been the president of the party?
In the last election, why didn't Besigye support Amuriat, for example?
As an individual, was he dispensable that you could run the campaign, and you did run the campaign? Amuriat came number 3, got the highest number of votes of a number 3 in that election. Why haven't you been able to move on from then and say 2001 is 4 years ago?
Yes, we have been trying to move on. But that's why these disruptions are coming in, that we don't move on.
So how does Besigye exert his influence over the party when he's no longer a member of the party, when he hasn't been in its leadership for the last 10 years?
You see, for example, when Amuriat stood last time, did you see Besigye campaigning for him?
He didn't.
He didn't.
So?
Right.
What does that
mean? What does that suggest?
Yes, what does that mean?
He never wanted.
He never wanted?
Yes.
How did he fail? How has he then failed Amuriat from running his party, from running the party?
No, he has not failed. The party is going on.
So why are you blaming?
Besigye played his part.
Yes.
Muntu Kem played his part.
So why is the focus on Besigye?
Right.
Why is the focus of Nadia Nankumbi on Besigye?
Because it is in his office where they plan everything, at Katonga, his office.
Yeah, but
right?
how... the many... I'm sorry to go on...
I see contradictions.
Yes.
Yes.
Contradictions. Besigye is not big deal. But Besigye is the big deal.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Be clear.
No. Besigye now seems to be like
He's the one who came. Let me first explain this.
Now.
Let me explain this. Let me explain this. He's the one who came with allegations of money,
Yes.
right? We had invited him to come and address the National
Why
Council.
would that be the case?
Excuse me.
Why would he do that?
Personal interest to disorganize the party. Yes, that's why we are where we are.
Why do you think Besigye has so much influence on the party? What explains?
As
so
our,
much influence?
as our first leader,
Yes.
right? You know, he has that influence. And whatever he says, yes, we take note. And that's why when he raised that matter, we called elders, right? We have a committee of elders to sit down and, you know, interview all the people that could help. Besigye was called, listen please, wait please. Why are you putting words into my mouth?
No, I was
Right?
asking.
Besigye was called to give evidence. I was called to give evidence. And many other people were called, right? Besigye had said, this money he's talking about, he has evidence. And that he had notes of money, you know, as samples. They said, present them to this committee. Let's look at them so that we do investigations. We go to the Bank of Uganda and, you know, follow it up. Besigye never produced the evidence.
For this story,
Okay.
they would say Besigye has been bribed by Museveni to make those allegations.
Wait, please. It could be. As he's saying, we were abroad, he could have been bribed, right, to destroy the party.
Honorable Sabit, when you reflect back,
Yes.
do you think that FDC has narrowed its focus to Kizza Besigye or to Yoweri Museveni
No.
and off the main goal?
We are, that's why we are now busy campaigning, busy mobilizing, right? Besigye played his role, and he's a good member of the party, right?
And
right? He's a member of the party, right? But we have a leadership that is assigned to do that job. He's a member, he can participate as a member.
Anyway,
yes, Ingrid.
As I said before, you can see the work that is being done in Najananko just to destroy Besigye and put him down. When they went to State House to pick the money, he wasn't there. They brought the money to him
You were there?
in his home. He did not request for the money. And that's when he got, the money was off-roaded from his home.
The money that
in
was given,
Chambogo.
let me explain this,
At
please,
Chag-
please.
Honorable Jack Sabit.
Let me explain
in
this.
tracks.
Let me
That is
explain
the
this.
discussion I didn't want to go into.
Let me explain
for
this.
me, I am
this money
interested.
they are talking about.
But it's now my chance to talk. You've been
Yes.
talking and I've been silent. You've been arranging
Okay,
many
you'll give
things
me a chance
against-
to answer.
Yeah, but we're running short of time, so I'm going to. I have only about maybe 3 minutes or so.
Yes, so what I'm
Please.
saying, doctor did not request for any money from them. They brought it from State House. They off-roaded it from Honorable Jack Sabit's home
Are you sure?
in the trucks.
Are you
Then
sure?
they packed in the sacks
she has changed
and
it.
delivered to Dr. Besigye's home. He got the money and even wrote serial numbers and delivered the evidence to the committee that had been established by themselves to investigate.
By the Constitution.
So, but for us, I said I didn't want to go into the details. For us, we are looking forward now. Article 3 of this Constitution reads, the headquarters of the party shall be situated in Kampala, with branches in districts, constituencies, and such places in Uganda and in the diaspora as the National Executive Committee shall determine. Our headquarters is in Kampala, Plot 6, Katonga Road.
That's the party headquarters.
We are members, some are life members, others, we are even recruiting afresh. We can even take over
Afresh.
power.
How do you see this impacting if you participate in the next election as FDC? How do you see this impacting? Because many people have been looking at...
No. Wait, we are not participating as FDC. We said, I told you, we have a resolution to dissolve FDC and form a new party. And continue, refocus the struggle we can actually take over power without a party. With or without a party, we can take over power. With, without
Why haven't you?
offices, with or without offices, we can still take over power. So that's our mission. We want even to ignore these people. We are not going to be willing to come back to talk shows with them because they attack individuals. They have nothing to present. They are working for the dictator. Their mission is to finish everyone, but we have decided
but many
now...
people watching you are saying you're finishing each other.
No, for us, we have decided to preserve our history. To say that FDC was there, they did this and this. For example, I was talking
Okay,
about
I'm afraid you need to
the
conclude
rallies,
because we've
the
run out of
rallies
time.
they are holding. Have we ever seen FDC, our FDC, serving alcohol on rallies? They are now serving alcohol. They are deleting everyone from the party. The party is surrounded by goons. What they are doing, we don't want to be part of it, and that's why we are saying, let's stop here and let them also go and look for their other headquarters. Let them also go and look for another platform which they can use instead of distorting our platform.
We haven't gone
called
into what
FDC.
the law provides and how the two groups play in regard to the law. Jack Sabit, your conclusion, and then I'll conclude with Professor.
FDC is a strong party. It has its structures. We follow the constitution, this constitution. We have a strong leadership, currently under Amriato Boy as the president. And we are now on the move to mobilize. We have covered parts of North and the East. We are moving to Buganda. Tomorrow we shall be in Busoga. And we shall continue. FDC is for members of FDC. And all members of FDC are requested to help in this struggle to make sure that
Where's the place
FDC
of-
remains FDC. No one has the capacity, has even power to dissolve this party. If it is to be dissolved, there is a clear article, Article 36, how it should be done. Districts should be involved. 80% of every structure within the district, and up until we move up. And therefore, I wish those who are in Katonga who want to form their own party, please go and form your party. But we would be happy if you changed your mind, come back to FDC, and we continue working together.
What's your message to Ugandans watching you who are not members of FDC?
FDC has a clear ideology where we are going, we are heading, and I request every Ugandan to join FDC so that we remove these dictatorial tendencies in our country and we move on.
Professor, you close this out.
Well, very well. I'm glad that I came to this program. Viewers, those of you who have followed this program, you can now see that those who claim that they know where to go for Uganda have to be checked. If a party can't know where it is going, how can it take Uganda anywhere? And when you don't know where you are going, anywhere takes you there. The quarrels, the intensity of quarrels and conflict between Katonga and Najanankumbi is enough to show us that we don't have an instrument of problem solving in FDC. And I'm not saying this out of hate, I'm saying it out of analysis and out of the analysis of the history of Uganda. You cannot be like this and face the challenges that face Africa, that face Uganda. If you cannot compromise on issues of who leads what, compromise on what you should do, how can you address the international power wielders? And when I heard that very clearly here, and you heard it if you have been following, that some people go abroad to get money from there. How can we depend on that kind of support to lead a party that can run the affairs of Africa? Gentlemen and ladies, Africa needs more commitment than these struggles, these squabbles describe. I am hoping that NRM will learn from all these weaknesses and be even stronger so that there is a continuity, like we have seen in Tanzania. Nyerere must be recognized not only as a saint in the churches, but also as a global leader. And any FDC leaders, whether Katonga or Najana Nkumbi, read Nyerere's works.
Our time is out. Yes. We need to get out of here. Thank you very much, Professor Tarcis Bazana Kabwejere. Thank you very much, the Honorable Jack Sabiti, Chairman of the Forum for Democratic Change, Najana Nkumbi. Not chairman.
No.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Ingrid Turinawa. Thank you very much to all our viewers and our listeners for joining us this morning. This has been The Big Talk on Next Radio and NBS TV. For me, I think Kana will be back on Saturday next week.
106.1 Next Radio.